And thank you very much for joining me, that's Hawkeye, here at Maple Leafs Man Advantage. And in my next video, it's not going to be a very long one, but I'm going to talk about a few different things. We're into the 1970-71 NHL season, and I'm going to talk about a few things with the Leafs, including a couple of grades that happened. Um, so I'm going to start there. On November the 13th, 1970, there was a bit of a homecoming here in Toronto, and sort of a reverse of that as well, if you will, when the Toronto Maple Leafs and the St. Louis Blues worked out a deal. The St. Louis Blues, we'll start there, they got Britt Selby. Um, I say reverse homecoming because Selby had been a Leaf on two different occasions, and they're trading him again. And the Leafs in return, they got defenseman Bobby Baun, who was there in 1967, one of their defensemen. He had won four Stanley Cups in Toronto, and he's returning to the blue and white. Now we're going to start. I'll start and look at Britt here. I've talked about him a few times, at least a couple, anyways, I believe, in other videos. But by this point, Britt had played 288 games with 54 goals, 58 assists for 112 points. He would go on to play 59 games for the Blues. He scored just one goal and had four assists for 5 points. So he may have been just way down on the totem pole in St. Louis there. Now, looking at what Baun did, Baun was in fact 7 years older than Selby. And he had already played 11 seasons in Toronto by this point. Bob had played 827 games. He scored 33 goals with 157 assists for 190 points and also had garnered 1,261 penalty minutes. As I said, Bob had won four Stanley Cups in Toronto. He played in five All Star games. He was sturdy on defense. I certainly have seen him play, watching some old games, and I liked him. He was a very, very good hitter. That's what he was very good at, just like Tim Horton. If you're trying to come into the zone, you better be aware of where this guy is because he'll hit you and hit you hard, and it could be with a hip check. So he's going to get you. Make sure you are not coming into that zone with the puck. Now, Bob would play 137 games for the Leafs. He'd score four goals with 30 assists for 34 points, and he'd also get 228 penalty minutes. Now, looking at his stats and looking at um, really right there, Bob must have had a very good season. Not like, with the offensive stats, but I see he was voted fifth in Norris this season, and he was sixth in Hart voting as well for the MVP of the league. So that's pretty good there. So a good pickup and a great defenseman to once again slip into your lineup. A very good trade for the Leafs here on that one. And there'll be another one um, here as well in a moment. But first, kind of really changing gears here. Um, I'm going to talk about something that happened during this season. It's a very sad and incredible story. I was unaware of this even happened. Nobody talks about this, like for good reason. Like during broadcasting, it was a very long time ago as well. But even when I was a kid, I don't remember them talking about this. But on December the 12th, 1970, Brian Spencer, who is also on my team as well, I think this was maybe the first real season he was getting in Toronto with some good playing time. He was definitely an everyday player in Toronto now. Um, Now, his father was living in Prince George, BC, and on TV. And I think that was a Saturday night. They were not playing the Leafs. I imagine on CBC. They weren't playing the Leaf game. Brian's father, Roy, became enraged, and he went to the TV station with a gun. Um, he then, what happened? He was holding the workers of the TV station at gunpoint, the workers there. And then what happened is he was shot and killed by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police during a standoff, I take it, where he was in the television station. So that is an incredibly sad story. And that's just when Brian is starting his NHL career, really. Um, and it doesn't end there. Like, Brian's still on the team and everything like that. But Brian's life uh, definitely had some hardship and rocky times for himself after this. Brian did finish his career in 1979-80, so 10 years down the road, he was 30 years of age. Um, but his life supposedly it spiraled into alcohol and violence. He himself was charged with kidnapping and murder in 1987. That's pretty incredible stuff there. If he was found guilty, he could face the death penalty. This was in Florida, I believe. In the end, he was found not guilty. But on June the 3rd, 1988, Brian was shot dead in Riviera Beach, Florida, during a robbery after he had purchased drugs. Um, he was only 38 years old at the time, and just incredibly sad story of Brian Spencer, a Toronto Maple Leaf, and um, I feel bad that I need to bring this story in the middle of an episode about something else, but it started with what his father did there. Really incredibly sad story about Brian Spencer. Now, the other trade I can talk about that as well. It was on December the 23rd, 1970, just 2 days before Christmas. There was no, I always think of Brian Burke like the Christmas. I won't trade anybody for 2 weeks and everything like that. That certainly was not going on back then. Um, the Toronto Maple Leafs traded King Clancy's son, Terry, to the Montreal Canadiens for cash. Terry had played 61 games in the NHL so far. He had scored 6 goals with 5 assists for 11 points. Uh, Terry would go on to play 32 more games. Um, and I think that was after he made his third trip back to Toronto in 1972-73. And he grabbed a lone assist. No problems with this trade here. No problems at all. Now, what I'm going to do because of this trade, Bobby Baun, boom, green light, no problem. I'm going to put him on my team as well. Just a little change here. Selby's gone. Traded him, and Baun, I slipped him there. I don't know if he was the number 5 guy in Toronto. I don't think so, but I just put him down there, and boop, 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 down here by the finger. There's Brian Glennie. Now, sometimes they may dress 6 defensemen and 10 forwards, so definitely a young crew. But Bond, he definitely adds some much needed veteran presence on the back end there. So there you have it. That is the team right now. And I believe in my next episode, I'm going to talk about another trade, and there's going to be some more changes to this team here. So, anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and hit like. If you want to subscribe, that'd be fantastic. I got other videos on here about the Toronto Maple Leafs in the NHL, going through time, if you will. And if you want to comment on anything, you can go ahead and do so. That is great. But until next time, go Leafs, go!